Hi. It's been a long time. It's been about a year. I quit YouTube because I didn't feel like doing it anymore. Wasn't really getting what I wanted out of it. But I recently had an argument with a friend, and then the argument prompted me to do some research about the topic we were arguing about. And that research inspired me to do the video. And the topic of this video is the topic of that argument. But this video is not really going to be connected to that argument anyway, so I'm not going to be doing any direct jabs or anecdotal stuff. I'm just going to be talking about the research that I found, my side of argument, and I'm going to try to persuade you to the side of that argument. So here's the actual intro of the video. Also, don't mind the stuff. I haven't shaved in a little bit, but don't worry. I'm not going to be using the face cam for the whole video, just the intro, pre-intro, and the outro. And that's it. Everything else will be like animated stuff, not like animated, but you know what I mean. So yeah, without further ado, play the actual intro this time, like for real. Okay, I'm going. The decriminalization and legalization of drugs is a complex topic. Drug offenses, incarceration rates, drug dependence, and addiction are all massive issues in the United States. For the purposes of this video, though, we will only be discussing decriminalization. Legalization will come in a second video that will be more or less connected to this one, but probably less so. Decriminalization should be heavily considered. The positives outweigh the negatives by a large margin. Here's why. To start things off, I'm going to talk about the most worrying negative for a lot of people. If decriminalization is enacted, it could lead to an increased supply of drugs. The prices of them will drop and people will be more tempted to experiment, especially if they do not have fear of legal prosecution. This is true. An increase in experimentation will most likely rise. However, drug dependency will not. Drug abuse and drug dependency are the issues that affect society negatively, not drug use in and of itself. Drug use could amount to 1 or 2 events of drug consumption per year, whereas drug dependency and abuse is what causes higher rates of crime and higher rates of drug-related deaths. Overall, experimentation and drug use may rise from decriminalization, but drug dependency and drug abuse will not. The best place to start is with the results of criminalization. What has it done for society? Does it remedy the problem of drug abuse? Ultimately, does it improve public safety? No, it does not. In an analytical study conducted by the Pew Research Center, it was found that there is no statistically significant relationship between imprisonment and a decrease in drug issues, including deaths due to drug overdose. This means that imprisonment is an ineffective medium to fix drug-related issues. This also means that American tax dollars are being wasted on an ineffective system that does not fix the issue. Conversely, some countries have replaced imprisonment with better funded treatment programs and law reform. An example of this is Portugal. In 2001, Portugal enacted one of the largest drug reforms in the entire world, decriminalizing low-level possession and use of all illegal drugs. This resulted in drug-related crime rates dropping to 0, obviously, but it also resulted in decreased incarceration rates, increased rates of people receiving treatment for addiction, and massively decreased rates in HIV spread and drug overdose deaths. What this shows us is that in countries where decriminalization has been tried, positive outcomes are more likely to happen if done right. A counter-argument to this could be, prison keeps inmates who are drug addicts in check and keeps them away from drugs. This is true on a technicality, but as seen from Portugal, and according to Turning Point of Tampa, decriminalization leads to an increase of people entering drug-related programs, and the number of people addicted to these substances decreases over time. This shows us that imprisonment is a short-term fix to a long-term problem. So if the imprisonment system is ineffective and does not contribute a positive change, but the opposite is true for decriminalization, then why keep the same ineffective system? A counter-argument to this could be, if it were decriminalized, wouldn't it cause more crises like the opioid crisis? No, the opioid crisis was caused by corporate greed of big pharma, pharmaceuticals like Johnson & Johnson. Better treatment systems will counteract this, not more imprisonment. More so, the opioid crisis, if not due to Big Pharma, could be attributed to poor management of prescriptions and treatment programs not being effective enough. Besides those reasons for decriminalization, there's also budgetary and economic reasons for decriminalization. For example, imprisoning people for drug-related crimes costs billions of dollars each year in federal budgets, and as a result, the taxpayer also suffers. Oregon alone spent $375 million in 2016 to arrest, prosecute, and imprison drug offenders. According to a report by the Cato Institute in 2018, federal, state, and local entities spent about $48 billion on drug prohibition in 2016. Drug decriminalization would allow states, or the country, or both, to redirect the money to drug treatment and rehab centers. Plus, the taxpayer would have their money going into a system that actually works effectively instead of a system that doesn't fix the issue. It could also free up police resources, or redirect them to other issues that are more pressing. There are also some minor reasons for decriminalization that could also play into helping other large issues that we have. These reasons include: it could reduce the negative effects on families due to drug-related arrests or incarcerations. It could also alleviate income-based disparities in the criminal justice system and relieve tension between the police and their communities, as in their residential communities that they patrol. In the topic of decriminalization, the pros heavily outweigh the cons. And if the stigmas of drug use are what is anchoring you to criminalization, then being open to the other options is an important mindset to have, especially when you consider the benefits to society that would come from decriminalization. Overall, decriminalization is a long-term solution to a long-term problem, unlike criminalization, which is a short-term solution to a long-term problem. Plus, as you can see from studies and other experiments in other countries, you can see that criminalization doesn't have any positive effect on society, whereas decriminalization has shown to be an overwhelmingly positive solution to the issue. Keep in mind this is only talking about criminalization when it comes to drug users, not drug distributors.